Knits in the Wild. My name is Jen, and this is episode 11 of my knitting podcast. So, if you're a new viewer, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. It's great to have you here with me today. I apologize in advance for my voice. I am not feeling that great, so I actually tested positive for COVID on Monday afternoon, and I was supposed to be off this whole week on vacation, so needless to say, my vacation did not happen, and I am spending some time at home trying to feel better, but thankfully it's pretty mild. It just feels like a cold. I'm feeling okay, just got a little bit of a sore throat, got my tea here. So unfortunately that happens. COVID is still a thing, unfortunately. A lot of people have said that, they feel like COVID's not around anymore, but I work in a hospital, so I see firsthand it's still around, and that might have been where I got it from, but I don't know. My husband and I also went to a wedding a couple weekends ago, so we could have gotten it from that. But needless to say, it's still not fun, and it's still out there, so let's start with what I'm wearing. The weather here has been awful, so I guess maybe it's a good thing that I haven't been feeling well, because the air quality was pretty bad here because of the Canadian wildfires. The smoke has been drifting down towards us, and on Friday the air quality was in the 150s. So when I look at that, I look at the chart and see, it usually tells you like if you should avoid being outside or not, and it said avoid strenuous activities outside. So on Saturday I didn't want to do my normal bike rides because they can be pretty strenuous, and I didn't want to push it too hard with the bad air quality, and I was in the process of probably coming down with COVID, so it's probably a good thing that I didn't do that. And then last Sunday it was just raining and awful, and then Monday is when I started to not feel that great, so it sucks, but it gives me a lot of time to spend knitting and working on spinning. So let's start with what I'm wearing. This is the Weathered Shawl by Neilan. I knit this last year as a test knit, and I love it. It came out a lot smaller than planned because of my gauge. Of course, I didn't gauge swatch properly, but it still fits really nicely. It's just not as big of a shawl. And this is knit up with the yarn that the pattern called for. It's less traveled yarn, which is a hand-dyed yarn, and it's a merino and silk fingering base. I can't remember the name of it, but the colorways are Sedona, this reddish color, and then the light color is this cream, and that is called Creosote, I believe. And I picked these colors because I'm obsessed with Sedona and the Red Rocks. My husband and I actually went on our honeymoon there, and we love Arizona. We love Sedona. We love mountain biking there. It's one of our favorite places, and we cannot wait to go back, hopefully someday. But I just love this shawl. It's very light and soft, and it's great for summer. Obviously, I don't need to be wearing it today because I think the forecast is like 90 degrees, and outside it feels like a sauna because it's so humid. But we have the AC running, and I wanted to wear something hand knit for the podcast, so if it gets too warm I'll just take it off. But that's my weathered shawl. So we don't have any finished knitting objects today, because I just have a lot of whips going on. Nothing finished. I have an almost finished project, which I will share with you. So this is my blanket that I'm making for a friend who's about to have a baby. and it's gotten pretty big. This is the Modern Mountain Throw by Mama in a Stitch. And apologies for my cats, they're fighting, but it's this beautiful, chunky yarn. It is knit up with Lion brand Thick and Quick Wool Ease, which it's a very basic yarn you can find at any craft store. I think I bought mine at Michael's or Joann's, I don't remember which, but yeah, it's in the fossil color, which is what the pattern called for. I was in love with the photos on Ravelry of this blanket, and it has this knit pearl pattern that looks like mountains, which is so cool. I think they will really like this blanket. It's not really a baby blanket per se, but it might be nice for her to have after the baby's born, and I hope that she likes it. She's not really into like colors, so hopefully this is neutral enough for her. I really hope she likes it, but I like it. So that's the baby blanket. Almost done. I've only got a few more rows left with that. I'm knitting it on, I think it's US 15 needles. I'll show you. They're these massive yeah, Chowgoose 15, 10 millimeters. Man, they're big, and it's purling with these is just really cumbersome. I am finding it's been a long time since I've knit with needles this big, and it is just not fun. As much as I like making this blanket for my friend, I'm going to be glad when it's done, because it is not that it doesn't bring me much joy, to be honest. It's kind of a slog, but you know, it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it to give her something nice for my next whip. I started at around the middle of June. So one of the things I've been wanting to make for a long time is the Winter's Beach Cardi by none other than Andrea Mowry. And I started it last month, and this is what I have so far. So it is a bottom up cardigan with cables and this lovely moss stitch. So I hadn't knit cables in years, and I was kind of afraid. I didn't think I'd be able to do it properly, but I did a little test swatch of the cable pattern after I purchased the pattern, and it was not as bad as I thought it would be. And I watched a video on how to read cable charts because I have never knit cables from a chart before. It's really not as bad as it looks, and it's coming out really great. I even did the afterthought pockets right here, which she has you put in some waste yarn and lifelines, and I think what we do when we go in after the cardigan is knit, you knit the pockets, I believe. But yeah, this is coming out awesome. And this yarn is the Fiber Company's Arranmore Light, which is, I don't have a skein near me, but that's the yarn. It's this tweedy woolen spun wool cashmere silk blend, and it is gorgeous, and it is just perfect for these cables and this cardigan. I think it's going to be lightweight and warm and cozy, and it's awesome. I'm a huge fan, I think I've said before, of the Fiber Company's yarn. I don't know what it is, but I just love their yarns. And so far it's coming out, this pattern is coming out great. And I'm knitting the size 5, I think. I'd have to check on my Ravelry page, but I think it's a 5. I knit 5s in most of her patterns, so yeah, I'm really excited about this. It's fun to knit too, so really enjoying that. My next whip I started the other day because I wanted something quick and instant gratification since most of my projects have been pretty long. So I started a hat in this awesome color. There's what I have so far. It's going to be, the brim is going to be folded up like this. Let's see. And it's going to be really cozy for the fall. I just love this color. This is a Knit Picks yarn that I've had in my stash. Here's the tag, High Desert Worsted Weight, and this is 100% USA grown Shiniko wool, which I've never heard of before. I'm not sure if that's a sheep or like a place, but it is beautiful. And this is what it looks like without, it's got this beautiful twist. It is really round and squishy, and it's pretty affordable. It's like, I want to say it's on sale right now actually on their website for like $12 a skein, and I think you get 220 yards. Let's see, what does this say? 217 yards in one skein, and it's beautiful. And I'm holding it with this, which is Lang Alpaca Superlight. Here's the label. And this I just got on Wool and Company, from Wool and Company's website. And this is 199 meters. I'd have to do some math to figure out what that is in yards. But it's a mix of 54% alpaca, 24% nylon, and 22% wool. But it is this nice, fluffy, gorgeous, like, red. And it looks great with this Wildfire, which is like an orangey red. And together, they are just making this awesome fabric. It just is so soft and so squishy. And I cannot wait for it to be cold enough to wear a hat like this. I've been wanting to make a bright red hat for a while for winter hiking, and this is going to be cute. So this is the Cloud Hat by Lamb and Kid. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, so go check that out. It's a really easy, quick pattern for a nice hat. This would make a great gift too, so I might make more of these to give as gifts, maybe. So that is it for knitting whips. So let's talk about spinning. So if you're a spinner, you might know it is the Tour de Fleece. It's currently day 5/stage 5 of the Tour de France, which, if you don't know, it's a big cycling race, probably the biggest cycling road race in the world. And the Tour de Fleece, I just found out this year, is when all the spinners participate and spin on the same days as the Tour de France. And they can either spin all the same days as the race, and the race has built-in rest days, and you can take a rest day if you'd like. But I figured this would be perfect for me as a cyclist. I don't really follow the Tour de France, but I have been watching the highlights every evening and spinning while I watch them. It's been kind of fun to watch them. I don't follow road racing because I'm not really into road riding, but I do follow professional mountain biking and gravel racing. Obviously, I just did one of the biggest gravel races in the world out in Kansas last month. So it's been kind of fun to follow road racing, which is just a different discipline of cycling. Yeah, it's been cool. So maybe a couple weeks before the Tour de Fleece started, I started spinning for a pretty big project, which is my first 3-ply yarn. So I took 2 braids, well, they weren't really braids, 2 bags of fiber that I got from my Nest Fiber Club, and I will throw in some photos of those. But I started them last month, and I really had no rhyme or reason for color, like choosing the colors. I split them up into like greens, and then pink and yellows, and then one other bag of fiber. I just split them into 3 parts. I tried to make them as equal as possible, but it's pretty hard. And I spun them all on my EEW6, which is my new electric eel wheel. So it took me about 2 weeks to finish those, and I started the Tour de Fleece on my last bobbin, I believe, of that spin. So I plied, and I've been spinning every day of the Tour de France, maybe for about 30 minutes here and there. And it's when I started to it started on July 1st, and that's when I kind of started to feel sick. So I got a lot of spinning time in because I wasn't doing much else. But I plied it up on my electric eel, and I don't know why I'm undoing this, but this is the finished skein of 3-ply. And it's really soft and really squishy, and yeah, it kind of, the plies look really great. I'm really happy with the finished project, but the colors just are like, they're kind of light and they're all over the place. And I think that I'm not really sure what I'll make with this. And I have a lot of yarn. Like, this is a big mother of a skein. And trying to skein it back up here, but I'm not doing that great of a job. Anyway, this is the final skein. So I don't even know how much I have here. I don't know what weight this is. It looks kind of like a sport weight to maybe a DK, but I haven't measured it. I didn't count the yardage. I had so much that I just didn't have the patience to measure it all in my nitty naughty. So I'm guessing I probably have like 300 to 400 yards here is my guess. Maybe more. I don't know. No idea. So the 2 colors that I use for this were 2 club colorways from Nest Fiber. The first one was April's club colorway, and that was Superfine Merino in the colorway called Paper Kites. And then the second bag was the May Club Fiber. It's 100% Rambouillet in the colorway called Knee High to a Grasshopper. So it just made those 2 together, plied up, just made this really fun pastel-y yarn. And I really like the look of a 3-ply better than a 2-ply. But I think my next spin will probably be a 2-ply. We'll see. So my next spin is this. So I've got 1 bobbin done. This is another color from Nest Fibers. This is just a BFL that I bought from their website called Forage, and I think it was their October club colorway last year. Got these beautiful greens and like dark reds. Very pretty, very fall. And it's in mixed BFL. And this one is in progress right now. I'm working on the other bobbin currently. And some other fibers I can show you. So these are 2 other colorways that actually might look really great together. This is June's colorway. This is Paulworth in the colorway Prairie Skies, which is absolutely gorgeous. And then we've got Melancholy Monday. I bought this from their website for the tour, and I have 2 bags of this. So this is Falkland, called Melancholy Monday, and it's these two. I don't know. I think they might look really good together. Getting some ideas here. So that is all I have for you about spinning and the Tour de Fleece. So if you're doing the Tour de Fleece, let me know in the comments how you're doing, if you're liking it. I like it. I like watching the highlights, like I said before. It's been fun. Let's talk about some acquisitions. So I've said before that I'm in the Farmer's Daughter Fibers sock club. I've been getting a skein of fingering weight sock yarn all year, I think, except for January. I didn't get January's because I hadn't signed up in time. But I just got July's color, and is this beautiful purple blue, and it is called lupine. This theme is wildflower, so every colorway is based on a wildflower, and this is a mix of 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And I have all these skeins of their sock yarn from their club, and I haven't used any of them yet, and I'm like saving them up because I want to have them all, and then I want to maybe make something with all of them, or at least maybe make a fade, like make a faded shawl or something that I've always wanted to make, but we'll see. I don't exactly have a plan for them yet. And this is an older acquisition that I haven't mentioned. I forgot to mention it last time, but I'm doing it now because I want to give a shout out to this dyer. So the dyer is called 29 Fibers, and this is a local dyer to me, and you should check her out. Her shop has a lot of beautiful, beautiful yarns, and this is a one-off skein of yarn that she had for sale that I saw she posted on Instagram, and I loved it. Look at that. Look at those colors. It's so pretty. It is called Prismatic, one-of-a-kind colorway, so there's no more of this that I know of. And it is 246 yards of DK weight yarn and 100% merino wool. And it is so beautiful. I have no idea what I would make with this. I think I might do like a color work with this or something. But like, isn't her label cute? And she put a little stitch marker right there. So her yarns are really, really beautiful. You should go check her out. So I mentioned in my last episode that I'm going to be making the Heritage Harbor pullover, and I'm using this as the base color, this green, yellow green Corriedale from Bat and Kill Fibers, which is a local fiber mill to me. So I needed a contrast color for the stripes, so I got this Nightshades by Harrisville Designs. I think it's Harrisville Designs, yes. In their Cormo called Nightshades. And this is a woolen spun yarn. And I've always wanted to try it, but it's kind of expensive. So like, I can't imagine making a whole sweater out of it. So why not use it as a contrast? So it has these like little yellow flecks heathered in with this dark yarn. So I think these two together will make a great, like, this will be the base and this will be the contrast stripe. So I think that would look really good. What do you think? Yeah, I'm excited to try this yarn because I've been wanting to try it for a long time. So last but not least, I have another finished object, but it's not knitting related. Well, it's kind of knitting related. It's a project bag. Isn't it cute? So I made this last week. I was feeling like I wanted to sew. So I had this pattern for a bag called the Little Knot Bag. And I'm blanking on the name of the designer. I'll throw it up in the description. But I bought 3 patterns as a bundle on Etsy last year, and I just hadn't made this one yet, so it's one of those little arm bags. And I made this because I want to learn how to knit and walk. I know a lot of people can do this. I haven't tried it yet. I want to learn because knitting is so sedentary, and I'm not a sedentary person, even though I love knitting. I would love to be able to walk and knit at the same time, especially on my lunch breaks at work. But you just put your project in, and I have a project right now. This is a hat that I'm making for Jordan. I think I showed this on a previous episode. So you just hold it like this around your wrist, and then you have your yarn in the bottom, and you just knit and walk. We'll see. It seems pretty easy. I don't know. I gotta find a place where I won't run into people or trip. So we will see how that goes. But yeah, this is my little knot bag, and my plan for that is to try to knit and walk. So there's another. This is just fabric that I got on Etsy. I can link the shop below, but it's got these pretty moon phases on it. And then the liner is just fabric that I had found at Joann's. It's just the white with like this little pretty design on the inside. So I'm trying to just sew with what I have in my fabric stash, which isn't much. So it's hard to find projects that, use up little bits of fabric. So this would be a good one. And this is the medium size. I think there's a small and a large size also. So the small size would even use up less. So that would be a great option to for a stash buster for your fabric stash. Okay, so that's about it for today. I hope everyone is having a fantastic week. If you're in the U.S., I hope you had fun celebrating July 4th yesterday. So thank you for watching. Check out where you can find me down below. My Instagram is jenmay_knitsinthewild, and Ravelry, you can find me at jenmay. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.